G'day everybody, Sunda Psyche here, and I'm back with a video after quite a while. Now, this is a pretty short video. Um, Basically, I'm going to be giving a brief overview of how I use contrast paints to interact with metallics to give a metallic color, more or less. Now, I've used this a lot on Skaven miniatures for my Skaven Blood Bowl team, which unfortunately aren't here. They're at the local store. There was a painting comp recently, and I put them in to fill out some shelf space. But one example that I can give is the Vampire Hunter from Curse City. So you can see the sort of gold metallic on his gun. Now, I don't know how well that will show up on the camera, but the gold on his gun and his sort of gunmetal grey shoulder plates, if that will focus, that was all done with contrast paints. It's a really fast way of getting a coloured metallic going, and basically you just want a nice smooth metallic to begin with. Now, I really like using Chainmail Silver by Vallejo. Now, this is from the WizKids premium pack of paints. I haven't had a chance to look at the other Vallejo paints in full-size bottles because no one locally sells it, and I haven't bothered sourcing any on the internet yet because these little paints from the sort of box kits from WizKids, I haven't run out of them yet. So basically, what I like to use is the Chainmail Silver, and then I do a couple of coats of that until it's nice and even. And then I put my coat of contrast down. So for that gold, I used Iden Yellow from Citadel, the contrast paints. Now, you could do this with the new Army Painter Speed Paints if you wanted to. I haven't actually tested those, although my local shop has just started stocking them. So I'm keen to give them a try. Now, if you want to get some highlights out of it, you could use a lighter silver on top to highlight before you put down your contrast paint or your speed paint. Or use a darker silver. I'm just looking for where my dark silver is. I can't remember. Oh, hang on. Is that it there? Gunmetal. There we go. Putting down like gunmetal, dark grey sort of metallic, and then highlighting with the chainmail or even just the silver, something like that. You could then get those highlights and everything down first, which adds an extra little bit of depth on top. Once you chuck the contrast down, the metallic is giving off its own high points before the contrast has even done its job of pulling away from the high points and pulling in the low points. So yeah, that was basically it. This is a new format of video that I'm going to try. Heading forwards, I'm probably going to try and do a little bit more demo for stuff like this. But yeah, I just sort of want to do shorter videos where I talk about a painting technique that I use or something I've seen, or even games. I think I'd like to do a few more videos talking about games and such going into the future. I really enjoyed the long painting sessions that I was doing and then uploading them. But there was a fair bit of editing that went into that. I'd paint for 2-3 hours and then cut it down to an hour and a half and try and cut out chunks of conversation that weren't necessary, and then of course make sure that everything was still consistent. Yeah, so it was kind of chewing up a lot of my time. Those of you who don't know, I also run a small business as my day job, so it did chew up more time than I was wanting to spend. So yeah, if I'm doing any painting videos in the future, they're most likely going to be the new Norse Blood Bowl team. These are the Ulfwarreners I've started working on, and I might do a video coming up about how I'm painting them. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please give the technique a try, and let me know what you think of it. Just as a finishing note, with the sort of gunmetal on this model, I used Black Templar over a really light silver. I think it was actually the straight up silver from Vallejo. So the Black Templar, just a thin coat over the top, and as you can see, it gave a really nice finish on the Warhammer, on his shoulder pads. It came up very smooth. So yeah, I'd encourage you to give it a try, and happy painting. I'll see you in the next video.